Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magnetic Success. I hope you are all doing really, really well. I have a story that I wanted to share with you today because this is so powerful and I know you're going to love it, especially if right now you're feeling a bit stuck. You feel like you're trying to do all the things. You are almost battling with yourself. You can't figure out what's going wrong. You can't figure out why things aren't panning out the way that you want them to in your business or in your life. So this is a story that I'm going to read to you from U² by Pritchett. And it's such a cool book. It's pretty short. There's not a lot to read in it, but you could literally spend a week or even a month rereading one of these chapters, which is probably about 1 page, 1.5 pages, over and over again, because it is so packed with meaning. And if you can implement, integrate, and embody this, then your life changes. It transforms. This is all about making quantum leaps in your life. So this is how he starts the book. A true story. I'm sitting in a quiet room at the Millcroft Inn, a peaceful little place hidden back among the pine trees about an hour out of Toronto. It's just past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on a few feet away. There's a small fly burning out the last of its short life's energies in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of the window pane. The whining wings tell the poignant story of the fly's strategy. Try harder. But it's not working. The frenzied effort offers no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It is impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has staked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. This fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is open. 10 seconds of flying time, and this small creature could reach the outside world it seeks. With only a fraction of the effort now being wasted, it could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. Why doesn't the fly try another approach? Something dramatically different. How did it get so locked in on the idea that this particular route and determined effort offer the most promise for success? What logic is there continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an idea that will kill. Trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer any real promise for getting what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, it's a big part of the problem. If you stake your hopes for a breakthrough on trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances for success. How powerful is that story? And how much can you relate or resonate to that? Even if it's not something you're going through right now, I'm sure there has been a time or several times, like myself, more times than I would care to share, that I have found myself in that trap, especially in business. Trying so hard, just trying harder, using forcing and hustling and just trying more of the same. But it doesn't work. Because if it's not working, it's not working. And we have to look for another way. We have to be open-minded enough to be willing to seek another route. So before I start reflecting on this, I'd love for you to take a minute and just notice what came up for you as I was reading that story. Because there's a message in there. And that's your intuition talking to you now. Something coming up from your unconscious mind, perhaps. What situation has come to light for you? Because this story is to help you through that and overcome that challenge right now. So for me, I love the fly in the windowsill. This almost is like when we try and follow our logical, rational mind. So we're doing the things we think we should be doing. We're doing the things we see other people telling us to do online. We're doing all of these things, but we're doing it from a limited perspective. We're doing it from the perspective of the ego. Often we're acting out of fear. Often we're acting because we feel obligated. We feel like we should be doing these things because other people are creating success doing these things. But what we're not doing is listening to our intuition, our higher self, our guidance, right? So we're using our logic, we're using our ego, we're using our rational mind, and we're just trying to force, we're just trying to push harder because that's what we've been conditioned to think. You just try really hard. You work as long and hard as you can, and you'll eventually get there. So what's the other saying? Throwing mud at the walls until something sticks. You know, that is a fast recipe for burnout. So what we haven't been taught to do is a much faster route of getting to where you want is to turn inside. What is my intuition saying? What is my guidance here? You'll receive a prompt to help you turn in the direction of the door, right? And it was certainly your intuition will not be guiding you to keep doing and forcing more of the same over and over again if it's not already working. So this is like Abraham Hicks always talks about, we're paddling upstream, we're trying to force our way, we're trying to control, we're trying, just try harder, right? But what if all we needed to do was lift up the oars, allow the boat to be carried and turned, and then the river to flow us downstream where everything was easier, everything was in flow. We saw another route, we saw another way out. Yeah, but we have to get out of our minds first. We have to stop thinking that we know how to do it, and we have to allow ourselves to be open to receive new ideas, new perspectives, new perceptions, so that we can receive a different route, we can receive a different step. Because if we're not open-minded to that, then we can't ever hear the guidance anyway, right? So the strategy the fly was using, just try harder. With raw effort and determination. Now, how many times, think about your business right now. Where are you just trying harder? Where are you just using raw effort and determination? Just notice that. Are you taking inspired action, or are you trying to force? Just get curious as to what this is, because when we're just trying harder, it drains energy, right? It uses force and control. We're not allowing receiving. We're not allowing the universe, the universal energies, the law of attraction to actually support us and co-create. We're trying to manipulate it ourselves through our own limited perspective. Remember, the universe has a much broader mind. It can find us a million ways to bring us what we want. We can only see what we know, which is why it's a limited perspective, because we only know what's happened in the past. So actually, we're trying to create this new future. We're trying to hit these new business goals that we have no idea how to hit through our knowledge of what hasn't worked in the past, right? We don't know how to do it. Otherwise, we'd already have it. Yet we're trying to take action from what we know, but what we know is only what hasn't worked so far, or from our past experiences. So this is where trust and faith come in. We have to be open to trust. We have to be open to finding new ways, allowing new insights. We have to expand our mind, expand our consciousness, and we have to turn in to start listening. What is that feeling that we have? What is our intuition guiding us to? What are the nudges? What are the things that are showing up randomly that when you look at it, it resonates, you feel it's right, you don't know why? Are you following those? Because they're going to take you to the door. 10 seconds of flying time to get to where you want to be. They're going to take you to that door. We need to try different approaches. You know, you hear it all the time. I've got to think outside the box, right? But when you're stuck in that box, it's really hard to elevate your mind so that you're able to think outside of the box. But when we're stuck in that box, Einstein's definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Because how can you get different results if you're doing the same thing over and over again? You're going to get more of the same. More of the same. You're going to get more tired, more burnt out, more frustrated. There's going to be so much more pain, but the results are going to be the same. We just get so locked in on the idea that this is the way, this is how we're supposed to do it. We think we know, but if we give up the idea that we know how, because we don't know how, if we give up the idea that we need the exact steps and blueprint, if we give up the idea that we need the how up front, because no one ever knows how they created something until they're looking back. Steve Jobs says you can only join the dots looking back, right? So he didn't know the how, The how unfolded for him on the way. So we have to be willing to just release all of this stuff, all of this how, all of this control, all of this resistance. And we have to move with trust and faith. And one of the first people you have to trust is yourself. You have to start trusting yourself and your inner guidance and the universe and intuition. That's the only way you're going to be able to turn around and fly out the door, is by trusting yourself. So I love how he ended it as well. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. What if your breakthrough is right here, right now? What if you set the intention of just listening to this podcast and listen to it again afterwards if you need to, if it resonates? What if you set the intention right now that your breakthrough has come out of this podcast, has come out from this story, has come out from this nudge to look at things in a little bit of a different way, to have a perspective shift, to go inwards instead of outwards, to listen to what you're feeling is right rather than trying to do because everyone else is doing it, right? Your breakthrough possibility is right here, right now. So how does this show up in business then? Are you implementing a strategy that doesn't feel authentic and you're trying hard because you've been told to? You know, is there something in your business? Are there actions that you're taking that just don't resonate? They just feel horrible. Or it could be that you're trying to sell, but you have really limited beliefs and blocks around selling. So you need to actually break free of the resistance with your beliefs and your blocks before you can actually take that action, because otherwise you're just forcing through resistance. And when we force through resistance, it's just not going to come across in the way that we want it to in our business. Are you doing the same things over and over again, thinking if I just do more, I'm just not doing enough? You know, what is this resonating with you on? What are these areas in your business that you can get curious about? So, like I said, for us to help move through this, we have to release the resistance. We have to stop thinking that we're in it alone. We have to stop thinking that we know how because we don't know how. And that's okay. We have to stop thinking that not knowing the how is the problem, because it isn't. We're not supposed to know the how. And instead, we've got to say to ourselves, what is the next step? What is the next step that I can take? What is one step that I can take? How can I look at this situation differently? Right? We need to reconnect with our goals. So if you're struggling and you feel this resistance and pressure, go back to your goal. What is it that you want? What is that vision for your business? What are your desires? Feel into them. Remind yourself of them, because we can get taken so far away from them, so caught up in the rat race and the trying and the comparisonitis and all these things, the action, the doing, the figuring out what's right to do, trying to get it perfect. We can get so caught up in that, we've actually forgotten to connect back in with what we want in the first place. So connect back in, remind yourself what you want, get emotionally involved with this idea again. And when you can feel into that, when you can quiet your mind and you can feel back into that, the outcome, the result, and you're imagining it there and you're knowing it's done and you're feeling it's done, then you can just set an intention to receive an idea, the next step, the next nudge. And just allow yourself to be open instead of immediately going to the how am I going to do it? Because when you say how am I going to do it and you don't know, your subconscious is automatically going to say, I don't know. And it's already going to create self-sabotage, right? So just as a journal prompt for you, reflect on what came up for you when you listened to the story and look at the situation that you're struggling with in your business. Maybe it's an area you feel like you're stuck on, and just reflect on what you're doing. Are you trying the same thing over and over? Is there a different way you could be trying things? Just reflect and just allow to whatever wants to come up, come up. Journaling is so good for just letting subconscious ideas, subconscious thoughts to come up. You know, you can even allow some of your limiting beliefs to come up through this exercise that you didn't even realize were there and holding you back. So just journal away and just see what comes up. Maybe brainstorm 30 ideas, crazy ideas. Like, don't think, is it possible? Can I do this? Is it achievable? Get rid of all of that and just brainstorm. Go wild with your imagination. Like, what else could I be doing? And then just see what pulls you, what guides you, what resonates with you, what feels like the next best thing to try, right? So if this podcast has resonated with you and you know that you've got some reflection to do, then I can help you continue this with you after you've done the journaling. If it's something you want to continue, if you want to go deeper on this, especially as we draw to the close for this year, then you may have heard me talk already about your best year yet. It's a 3-day powerful workshop which helps you review your whole year and then really release all of the limitations, the beliefs, all of the stuff, all of the baggage that you're holding on to, all of the crap that you're holding on to, all of the things that have held you back, the challenges, the roadblocks. It will give you the opportunity to follow a process to recognize it, release it, have some energetic clearing around it, anchor in your celebrations, anchor in your wins, anchor in all the successes that you want to take through with you into next year, and then create the next 12 months from a clean slate. And it's just a process that you get to follow. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to figure out if you're doing it right. It comes with a new level you activation. It comes with a deeply powerful gratitude ceremony as well, so you can really anchor in all the feelings, so that you will, by the end of it, know exactly what you want next year, know exactly what's held you back, and have let go of it as well. But also you will have changed your point of attraction. You would have raised your vibration, shifted your frequency, and you'll be starting the new year as a new version of you. So if that's something that you would like help in and you'd just like to follow the process, we recorded it last week and it was absolutely incredible. And it's now an on-demand, instant access workshop just for you. So if you're experiencing the lull between Christmas and New Year, or you're sat there thinking, oh my God, I haven't actually got any goals yet for next year, or you've created some goals, but it's something that's off, it doesn't feel right, you're still holding on to these ideas of the past, any failures, any mistakes, you're still finding yourself a little bit in blame and shame or regret or any negative emotion about this year, this workshop's going to really, really help you. So I'm going to drop the link in the show notes. It's the absolute perfect time to clean the slate, start from a fresh page, and then with this story in mind, decide to be the fly that flies out of the door with 10 seconds of trying, instead of the fly that perils trying to get out of the window that is just impossible to get out of. I know that sounds a bit morbid, doesn't it? It's really not that fatal for us in business. But you get the analogy, right? You get the idea. So if this is something that you want help with, click on the link in the show notes. It's available. You can start on it right now. I hope you are enjoying your Christmas break. I hope you had a brilliant Christmas, and I'm wishing you a fantastic new year, and I will speak to you soon.